The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, silent and dark. Stars flickered faintly, distant and cold, like tiny candles struggling to burn in a windless night. Nothing moved. Trade routes were empty. Space stations floated abandoned. Even the oldest alien empires had grown silent, their fleets scattered, their civilizations quietly decaying. It was a galaxy that had forgotten the meaning of fear, until now. From the shadows of a forgotten sector, a massive silhouette appeared. Sensors across the galaxy blinked furiously. Alien commanders, lounging in their battle cruisers, suddenly stiffened. A human ship, enormous and unlike anything they had ever seen, slowly moved through the void. Its hull was dark, angular, and smooth. Lights pulsed along its surface in patterns too precise, too deliberate to be random. This was the Atlas-class carrier. Alien fleets monitored it in confusion. "It can't be," muttered one commander, eyes wide as his scanner struggled to process the ship's size and configuration. Humans? Here. How? The humans had always been underestimated. A weak species, scattered among a few star systems, lacking the massive fleets of other empires. They were simple, primitive. And yet, here was proof that they were far from weak. Inside the Atlas, the crew moved with calm precision. There was no panic. No shouting. No frantic alarms. Each human officer at their console typed commands swiftly, their eyes scanning hundreds of holographic displays. The captain, a tall figure with an unshakable presence, stood in the center of the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. His eyes were steady, his expression unreadable. Back in the alien sector, tension rippled through the fleet. Ships shifted their positions nervously. Communication channels buzzed with urgent messages. Leaders argued, their voices harsh and frantic. Deploy the interceptors. Fire warning shots. Do something. But the humans did nothing. They waited. Then the Atlas activated something. A hum began deep within its core, soft at first, almost imperceptible but growing rapidly. Energy pulsed outward, like ripples in a pond made of light. Stars near the carrier seemed to flicker and dance. Instruments aboard alien ships went haywire. Shields fluctuated, weapons misfired, sensors glitched. Some systems failed entirely. Alien commanders could barely comprehend what was happening. What is it doing?" one screeched. "Our systems, they're failing. It's impossible." A wave of silence washed over the human bridge. The crew did not cheer. They did not gasp. They simply observed, calm and confident. From the front viewports, the stars stretched and shimmered, bending slightly under the invisible force that emanated from the Atlas. It was power, but not the kind that destroyed. It was control, precise and absolute. The alien leaders had no idea what they were facing. Their minds raced, panic creeping like a shadow. They had studied humanity, always thinking them predictable, weak, inferior. And now, the humans moved with a precision that their advanced fleets could not match. Every motion of the Atlas, every flicker of its energy, was deliberate. Every signal it sent into space carried a message: we are not powerless. We are unstoppable. Inside the Atlas, the human crew remained focused. Eyes flicked over readouts, hands adjusted controls, and the ship moved as though it were alive, responding to commands before they were even spoken. Smaller human craft launched silently from bays that had been hidden from alien sensors until the last moment. Each ship took its position, forming an intricate pattern that promised both defense and offense in perfect balance. Back in the alien command fleet, chaos erupted. Ships scrambled to react, sending desperate messages to each other, trying to coordinate a counterattack. "We can't hold them," one voice shouted. "Their shields, nothing works." And then, in a moment of horrifying clarity, the alien leaders realized something that sent chills down their spines. They were dealing with a species that had been underestimated for centuries. A species that had waited, hidden in the dark corners of the galaxy, building something beyond imagination. The humans did not speak. They did not threaten. They simply existed, a silent, unwavering force at the edge of alien space. The energy pulse continued to ripple outward, and the stars themselves seemed to respond, bending light, flickering as if the galaxy recognized a new power had awakened. A young officer on the human bridge finally whispered, almost to himself, "They thought we were powerless." He paused, his eyes sweeping across the calm, confident faces of the crew. They were wrong. And in that silence, stretched across the void, the galaxy began to tremble. For the first time in countless centuries, the universe felt the presence of humanity not as a weak species to ignore, but as a quiet, patient force capable of altering the balance of the stars themselves. The moment had arrived. The Atlas-class carrier was awake, and the stars had begun to fall silent. The silence of space was deceptive. To the alien empires watching from afar, it seemed that humanity remained small, scattered, and weak. They assumed the humans would panic, flee, or surrender if faced with a real threat. They could not have been more wrong. Inside the Atlas-class carrier, the atmosphere was calm, almost serene. The hum of the ship's engines was steady, the only sound in the massive, dimly lit command deck. Holographic screens floated above consoles, showing star maps, energy readings, and the positions of enemy fleets. Officers tapped commands with precision, their movements practiced and fluid. Captain Raina Vale stood at the center of the bridge, her hands clasped behind her back. Her eyes scanned the holographic map of the nearby sector. Hundreds of alien ships were moving cautiously, trying to understand what had emerged from the darkness. She did not flinch. She did not speak unnecessarily. Her confidence alone seemed to radiate through the bridge, a quiet reassurance to her crew. "Status report," she said in her calm, commanding voice. "Scouts report alien activity increasing near the outer rim," Lieutenant Harris replied. "They are attempting to form battle formations, but our sensors show gaps in their coordination." "Good," Captain Vale said. "They are predictable. That will make this easier." Humans had not built the Atlas-class carrier overnight. This ship was the result of decades of secret planning, research, and construction. Entire star systems had been devoted to developing advanced technology that no alien could detect. Hidden factories had produced smaller warships capable of incredible speed and precision. Energy weapons had been refined to penetrate shields that had once seemed impenetrable. And at the heart of it all was the Atlas itself, a ship so powerful that its activation alone could alter the balance of the galaxy. The crew of the Atlas knew their mission. They were not here to conquer, not yet. They were here to protect humanity and to ensure that no alien empire could ever threaten their colonies again. Every officer understood the stakes. Every technician, every pilot, every soldier had trained for this moment. In the hangar bays below the bridge, hundreds of smaller ships waited in silence. Sleek, fast, and armed with advanced weapons, they were ready to launch at a moment's notice. Engineers made final adjustments, checking energy cores, propulsion systems, and weapon alignment. Even the slightest mistake could be fatal, but the humans worked with calm efficiency. Mistakes were impossible. The crew had rehearsed every scenario countless times. Captain Vale moved along the bridge, observing her crew. Her eyes fell on a young tactical officer, nervously adjusting the targeting system. She smiled briefly. "Stay calm. You are ready," she said. The officer nodded, taking a deep breath, and returned to his console with renewed focus. Outside, alien scouts hesitated, unsure how to respond. Their sensors had detected the Atlas, but the ship seemed to anticipate every move they made. Every small human craft deployed stealthily, positioning themselves in patterns that the aliens could not decipher. The humans did not strike immediately. They waited, calculating, preparing for the perfect moment to act. In the alien sector, confusion and fear spread quickly. Fleet commanders attempted to communicate, to coordinate, to form a response. But their systems began to fail unpredictably. Some sensors blinked out entirely, others displayed false readings. Ships drifted off course. Communication channels echoed with panicked voices. "They are not reacting like a normal species," one alien leader muttered. This is something else. Something beyond our understanding." The Atlas hummed with controlled energy. A soft glow pulsed along its hull, invisible to alien eyes, yet radiating power in every direction. The humans were calm, but their actions spoke louder than words. Every movement was deliberate. Every strategy precise. The aliens had always relied on intimidation, overwhelming numbers, and raw firepower. Humanity relied on precision, planning, and ingenuity. In the observation deck, Captain Vale finally spoke to the crew as a whole. Her voice was steady, commanding, and full of quiet authority. "Remember, we are not here to destroy without reason. Our goal is control, protection, and survival. Every system we've built, every strategy we've trained for, it comes together now. Be ready but remain calm. This is the moment we have waited for." The crew responded with a unified nod. There were no doubts. Fear had no place here. They had trained for this, dreamed of this, and prepared for it for decades. Humanity was ready. Meanwhile, alien fleets shifted nervously, unsure of how to respond. They could see the humans preparing, could sense the energy radiating from the Atlas, but they had no idea what it meant. Panic grew. Orders were given and cancelled, ships changed course erratically. The humans had forced them into confusion without firing a single shot. And still the humans waited. The calm silence of the Atlas was more terrifying than any attack. It was a quiet reminder that humanity was no longer a weak species to dismiss. They were calculated, prepared, and above all, confident. "Prepare for launch," Captain Vale said softly. "But remember, patience wins wars. Strike only when the time is perfect." The crew worked silently, methodically. Engines roared to life deep within the ship. Energy cores glowed brighter. The small human crafts moved into position. Outside the Atlas, the stars seemed to shimmer slightly, as if recognizing that something monumental was about to occur. The alien fleets had no idea what was coming. They could not imagine the power humanity had built in secret. And soon they would learn. The calm before the storm stretched across the void. The Atlas-class carrier waited, silent and ready. Humanity had prepared for this moment for centuries, and the galaxy was about to witness what true human ingenuity and resolve could achieve. And in the quiet, deep in the heart of the Atlas, Captain Vale whispered to herself, almost as if she were speaking to the universe, "Let them come. They will see what humanity is capable of." The silence of space shattered as alien fleets gathered near the outer human colonies. Hundreds of ships, sleek and deadly, moved in tight formations, their weapons gleaming under the distant starlight. Their commanders were confident. Humans had always been weak. They thought the humans would scatter, surrender, or fall quickly under superior firepower. They were wrong. From the shadows of a nearby nebula, the Atlas-class carrier emerged, immense and imposing. Its dark hull reflected distant starlight, and its energy cores glowed softly. Smaller human ships deployed silently from hidden bays, moving into precise positions that the aliens could not anticipate. Hundreds of vessels, fighters, bombers, and frigates, arranged themselves in perfect formations, a silent army that seemed to materialize from nowhere. The alien commanders hesitated. Their weapon systems, trained for rapid deployment, struggled to lock onto the human ships. Their scanners could not detect the full size of the fleet, hidden by advanced human stealth technology. Confusion spread among the ranks. "Target the humans. Fire everything," one screeched. But as their ships moved forward, every attack failed. Lasers dissolved harmlessly against invisible shields. Missiles veered off course. Fighters were intercepted before they could reach the human lines. Panic spread like wildfire. Inside the Atlas, Captain Raina Vale watched calmly from the bridge. "Hold positions. Wait for my command," she said softly. Her words carried no urgency, only confidence. Her tactical officers responded instantly, guiding the smaller human ships into precise strike patterns. The first alien attack broke. A salvo of plasma weapons streaked toward the humans, but the shields of the Atlas-class carrier absorbed it without a single crack. Smaller human ships darted forward, fast and silent, taking positions that allowed them to strike weak points in the alien formations. The aliens had expected chaos. They had expected fear. Instead they found calm, controlled precision. A squadron of human fighters, no larger than a shuttle, surged forward at incredible speed. They targeted alien frigates, striking exactly where the armor was weakest. Explosions rippled across the enemy fleet, but there was no celebration among the humans. Every movement was measured, calculated, deliberate. Alien leaders were horrified. "This cannot be. How are they doing this?" One commander's voice trembled over the comms as another ship exploded nearby. Their superior numbers meant nothing against humans who had prepared for every possible scenario. From the Atlas, energy pulses rippled silently through space, a subtle but devastating effect. Alien ships' engines faltered. Communications broke down. Fighters collided mid-flight due to sensor malfunctions. The humans had not fired a single large weapon yet, and already the enemy fleet was in chaos. Captain Vale gave the command. "Engage fully. Target weak points only. Keep the formation." Hundreds of human ships moved like a single organism, their coordination flawless. Every alien ship hit was calculated. No shot wasted, no movement unnecessary. They struck fast, hit hard, and withdrew before the enemy could respond. The human fleet moved with a grace and efficiency that left the alien commanders speechless. In one corner of the battlefield, an alien dreadnought fired its main cannon. The beam streaked toward the Atlas-class carrier, brilliant and deadly. But the Atlas moved slightly, almost imperceptibly, and the beam struck nothing but empty space. At the same moment, a counter-strike from the human frigates disabled the dreadnought's engines. The massive ship drifted helplessly, its crew unable to respond. Alien morale broke. Their formations faltered. Ships began to retreat, but humans pursued relentlessly. Smaller human fighters darted in and out, disabling weapons, sabotaging engines, and creating controlled chaos. The aliens were forced to respond, but every move they made had already been anticipated. The battle raged silently across space. Explosions lit the darkness, but the humans did not cheer. They did not celebrate. Their victory was not in destruction but in control. Every strike, every maneuver was part of a larger strategy. They were not simply fighting, they were asserting dominance, showing the galaxy that humans could no longer be dismissed. Captain Vale observed the battlefield calmly. Her eyes were sharp, focused. She saw every move, every pattern, every opportunity. "Maintain pressure," she said. "Do not overextend. Predict their next move." Her officers nodded. They had trained for this. Every scenario had been considered, every outcome calculated. Alien fleets now faced a terrifying reality. Humans were not only capable of defending themselves, they could dominate entire engagements with precision and foresight that no alien species had ever shown. Their confidence crumbled, replaced by fear and desperation. They were strong, yes, but they were predictable. Humans were unpredictable, intelligent, and, above all, patient. As the last of the alien frigates tried to escape, the Atlas-class carrier released a subtle, silent pulse of energy. It disabled the engines of a pursuing dreadnought, leaving it adrift. The humans could have destroyed it in an instant, but they did not. The message was clear: humanity controlled the battlefield. Humanity dictated the terms of engagement. Humanity had awakened. And in the quiet moments between attacks, as the alien fleet fled in disorder, Captain Vale whispered to her crew, almost reverently, "They thought humans were weak, they were wrong." The stars, stretched across the void, seemed to flicker in response, as if the galaxy itself recognized the rise of a new power. Humanity had made first contact, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The alien fleets were scattered, their formations broken, their confidence shattered. They had expected an easy victory, a simple engagement to remind humanity of its place in the galaxy. Instead, they faced something far greater than they had ever imagined. Inside the Atlas-class carrier, the bridge was quiet. Officers moved with purpose, but there was no panic, no cheering, no unnecessary noise. Every motion was deliberate. The humans had already anticipated the chaos in the alien fleets, but this was only the beginning. Captain Raina Vale stood at the center of the bridge, her eyes scanning the holographic displays of the alien positions. The humans had inflicted significant damage already, but the Atlas had a secret. One so powerful that it could turn the entire battle in their favor without firing a single traditional weapon. "Prepare the core," Vale said, her voice steady and commanding. Lieutenant Harris nodded and tapped the controls. Deep within the Atlas, hidden beneath layers of reinforced hull and energy shielding, a massive system began to hum to life. The ship's central core, a masterpiece of human engineering, activated in a way that no alien technology could detect. It was not a weapon of destruction. It was a weapon of control. Energy pulsed and flowed through the Atlas, invisible to alien sensors but detectable by the humans. It radiated across space, subtle but devastating, interfering with the enemy's engines, communications, and targeting systems. Ships that had seemed unstoppable moments before now faltered. Lasers missed, missiles drifted off course, and some dreadnoughts spun helplessly as their navigation systems failed. The alien commanders shouted in confusion. "Our engines, they won't respond," one cried. "Our weapons, they are useless." Another tried to fire a salvo, but nothing happened. Panic had taken over the fleet. They could not understand how humans, a supposedly weak species, had created this power. "Steady," Captain Vale said calmly. "We take no unnecessary risks. We strike only where needed." Human ships moved silently, exploiting the confusion. Fighters zipped past alien cruisers, disabling weapons and engines with surgical precision. Frigates targeted weak points revealed by the Atlas' subtle energy manipulation. The humans were everywhere at once, yet nowhere in particular. To the aliens it seemed impossible. How could such a small species dominate so thoroughly? The hidden power of the Atlas was more than a weapon. It was a statement. Humanity did not rely on brute force alone. They relied on knowledge, planning, and control. Every alien ship that faltered, every system that failed, proved that humans had studied the galaxy, anticipated every move, and prepared for centuries. "Scan for energy feedback," Vale commanded. Her officers obeyed, monitoring the pulse as it spread silently through the alien fleet. Every sensor, every computer, every ship affected by the core reinforced one undeniable truth. Humans were no longer a species to underestimate. Meanwhile, the aliens tried desperately to regroup. Communications became chaotic. Orders contradicted one another. Ships collided as engines failed unexpectedly. It was a disaster orchestrated without even touching their weapons. The humans' hidden advantage had turned the tide of battle before any direct engagement. On the bridge of the Atlas, Captain Vale's eyes were sharp, calculating. She knew that victory required patience as much as power. "Hold positions," she said. "Let them feel the weight of our presence. Make them understand that they are outmatched without firing a single destructive shot." The smaller human ships moved in perfect coordination, exploiting every weakness the Atlas revealed. Fighters disabled engines, bombers targeted command ships, and frigates blocked escape routes. The alien fleets were paralyzed, forced to watch as their once formidable armada crumbled silently. Even the most experienced alien commanders could not comprehend the situation. This is not warfare," one whispered to another. "It is control. Total control." How can a species so small? Captain Vale allowed herself a small, satisfied nod. Humanity's power was not just in their ships or weapons. It was in their intelligence, their discipline, and their ability to think ahead. While the aliens relied on sheer numbers, humans relied on strategy. And the strategy of the Atlas-class carrier was unfolding perfectly. "Prepare for Phase 2, Vale said. "The fleet is ready. Once we move, there will be no recovery for them." The crew continued their calm, precise work. Every action, every command, every deployment was designed to maximize the effectiveness of the Atlas' hidden power. The aliens had no chance to counter. They had no chance to adapt. Humans were already several steps ahead, manipulating the battlefield without exposing their full strength. And somewhere deep in the heart of the Atlas, the core pulsed with quiet, unstoppable energy. It radiated human ingenuity, patience, and resolve. The alien fleets, confused and terrified, had only begun to realize that the humans they had once dismissed were now the masters of the engagement. Outside, stars flickered under the subtle influence of the Atlas. The hidden power of humanity spread silently, and the galaxy began to understand. The humans were no longer weak. The humans were in control. And Captain Vale, watching it all unfold with unwavering calm, whispered to herself once more. "They thought we had no power, but they have only seen a fraction of what humanity can do." The alien fleets were in chaos. Their formations shattered, their weapons unreliable, their engines failing at random. They struggled to survive. They had thought humans were weak, that a few volleys would send them fleeing. But now, under the silent control of the Atlas-class carrier, they were beginning to realize the terrifying truth. Humanity was not just surviving, they were winning. Captain Raina Vale stood on the bridge of the Atlas, her gaze steady, her posture calm. The battle had been anticipated, every move predicted. But patience was key. The Atlas' hidden power had softened the enemy, spreading confusion and fear, but the humans were not here merely to disable. They were here to regain control of the galaxy and show the cost of underestimating humanity. "Engage," Vale commanded. Her voice echoed across the bridge, clear and resolute. The smaller human ships sprang into action. Fighters zipped through the gaps between alien cruisers, their engines silent but deadly. They struck weak points in alien armor, disabling weapon systems, severing communication arrays, and crippling engines with precise energy pulses. Bombers followed, silently delivering electronic disruptors that left entire alien wings paralyzed. Alien commanders shouted orders, but their words fell into chaos. Ships collided, fired at each other by accident, or drifted helplessly through space. Panic spread like a virus. Some tried to retreat, but escape was impossible. Human frigates blocked exit routes, moving with exacting precision. The aliens were surrounded without even realizing it. Inside the Atlas, the bridge crew observed the battlefield with a calm intensity. Every move the humans made was deliberate. They struck where the enemy was weak, avoided where the enemy was strong, and coordinated flawlessly across hundreds of ships. Every alien attempt to regroup was anticipated. Every strike was countered. The humans had the advantage of strategy, preparation, and control, three weapons that no alien fleet could match. Captain Vale's eyes fell on a large alien dreadnought attempting to regroup near the center of the formation. She smiled slightly. "Target it," she said. Fighters surged forward, weaving through streams of fire. Missiles guided themselves silently, striking exactly where the ship was most vulnerable. Explosions rippled across its hull, but still the humans did not cheer. Victory was not in destruction, it was in precision and control. The dreadnought drifted helplessly, a warning to the rest of the alien forces. Phase 2 complete, Lieutenant Harris reported. The enemy's command ships are crippled. Morale is at 0. They are disorganized and vulnerable. Vale nodded. Good. Now we show them what it means to challenge humanity. The Atlas pulsed silently, radiating energy that continued to disrupt alien systems. Every ship, every sensor, every communication channel in the enemy fleet faltered. And now the humans moved in to finish what the core had begun. Small strike teams boarded disabled alien ships, taking control without firing a single shot. Fighters disabled engines and weapons, turning the aliens' own technology against them. Entire wings of the enemy fleet were rendered useless, drifting helplessly through space. Humanity did not seek total destruction, only control, dominance, and the clear message that no one would threaten them again. The alien commanders panicked. Some tried to fight back, but it was too late. Their formations had been dismantled, their systems corrupted, and their morale shattered. They had underestimated humanity at every turn, and now the cost was catastrophic. Hold positions, Vale instructed. Do not let them escape. Even as the alien forces attempted to regroup, human ships moved with quiet precision. Fighters struck swiftly, disabling engines and weapons before the aliens could react. Frigates surrounded fleeing cruisers, cutting off every possible escape. The humans were everywhere, yet nowhere in particular. It was a symphony of coordination, a deadly ballet that the aliens could neither predict nor counter. And then, in the heart of the Atlas, the core pulsed again, this time more intensely. Alien sensors failed completely. Engines stopped. Weapons systems shorted out. Entire fleets were paralyzed in an instant. Humans did not fire. They did not need to. Control had been taken. Humanity had turned the tide without mass destruction, proving once more that strategy, patience, and intelligence were more powerful than raw numbers. Captain Vale surveyed the battlefield. The enemy was broken, scattered, and unable to fight effectively. Yet she remained calm. This was the turning point, yes, but the humans had to ensure it remained decisive. Every crew member on the bridge knew their role. Every ship followed precise orders. Humanity was in full control, and the galaxy would see it. Finally, as the last alien cruiser drifted, engines dead, Vale spoke. Her voice was quiet but firm, a whisper that carried across the silent bridge. They thought they could challenge us. They thought humans were weak. They were wrong. Always wrong. Outside the Atlas, stars shimmered in the distance, witness to humanity's dominance. The battle was not over, but the outcome was clear. The aliens had learned, painfully and finally, that humans were not to be underestimated. They had prepared for this for centuries, and now, at last, the galaxy understood the truth. Humanity had turned the tide. And the universe would never forget the moment it happened. The alien fleets were broken. Their formations lay in ruins, their ships crippled or adrift, their crews confused and terrified. The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, was silent, but it was a tense, heavy silence full of fear and uncertainty. On the bridge of the Atlas-class carrier, Captain Raina Vale observed the battlefield with calm, piercing eyes. Every alien ship that drifted helplessly through space was a reminder of humanity's preparedness, intelligence, and discipline. Every disabled dreadnought, frigate, and fighter was proof that the humans they had underestimated were no longer weak. The humans had not fired indiscriminately. They had not destroyed without reason. Their goal had never been wanton destruction. It had been control, dominance, and clarity. Now, the moment had come to deliver the message. Vale pressed a series of commands on her console. The Atlas systems hummed, and the massive carrier became a broadcasting hub for the entire sector. A calm, clear signal began to spread across every communication channel, every subspace frequency, and every open network in the alien fleets. The message was simple, but its impact was profound. We protect our own. We never attack first. But if you threaten us, we will respond. Humanity is no longer weak. Humanity is in control. Let this be your warning. Across the shattered alien formations, silence followed. Ships stopped firing, even those that were still capable of movement. Crew members stared at their screens, listening to the human words. Panic deepened. Confusion spread. Commanders argued, but there was no solution. The humans were no longer just fighters. They were the undeniable authority in the sector. Lieutenant Harris turned to Vale. Captain, they're listening. The signal is reaching every active ship. They can't ignore it. Vale nodded, her face calm. Good. Let them feel the weight of our presence. Let them understand that the galaxy has changed forever. The message continued to spread, reaching every colony, every station, every fleet that had been monitoring the conflict from afar. Alien civilizations across multiple sectors realized that something unprecedented had occurred. A species long considered weak and insignificant had revealed power and control beyond comprehension. In many alien capitals, leaders convened emergency councils. Ships were grounded, fleets recalled. Scholars and generals alike scrambled to understand what had happened. They had been defeated not by sheer numbers, not by brute force, but by precision, planning, and strategy, a human strength that had been hidden until now. Back on the Atlas, smaller human ships continued their movements, but there was no need for aggressive strikes. The humans' calm dominance had already done the work. Fighters flitted between crippled cruisers, maintaining control of escape routes. Frigates patrolled strategic points. Every move reinforced the message: humanity was now the dominant power in this space. Vale observed quietly, noting the subtle changes. Alien fleets were no longer coordinated. Morale was at its lowest. Even the bravest crews hesitated, unsure whether to flee or fight. Humanity had not just won a battle, they had rewritten the expectations of the galaxy. Signal complete, Harris said. All active units in the sector have received it. They understand. Vale allowed herself a small nod. Good. Let them think, let them plan, let them fear. That is the advantage of intelligence. That is the strength of humanity. In the distance, stars flickered faintly. The galaxy had fallen silent again, but this silence was different from the emptiness that had preceded the battle. It was a tense, wary quiet, the pause that comes after a powerful message has been delivered. Aliens were left to contemplate a species that they had underestimated for centuries, a species that had emerged from obscurity to command respect and fear across star systems. And inside the Atlas, the humans remained calm. They had struck without unnecessary destruction, they had demonstrated their superiority, and they had sent a message the galaxy could not ignore. Humanity was prepared for war, but they preferred peace. Humanity was strong, but they were disciplined. Humanity was silent, but they were unstoppable. Captain Vale looked out across the void from the observation deck. Her eyes swept over the drifting enemy ships, over the calm formations of her own fleet, and over the infinite stars. She whispered, almost reverently, to no one in particular. Let them remember this. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not simple. Humanity is in control. The galaxy had heard the message. It would never forget it. Even in the silence, far beyond the battle, distant civilizations began to whisper about humans, their patience, their planning, and the terrifying precision of the Atlas-class carrier. Rumors would spread. Stories would travel. A new order had emerged. And in that quiet, tense moment, the humans aboard the Atlas knew one undeniable truth. The galaxy had changed forever. The galaxy had fallen silent. Not the emptiness of abandoned space, not the quiet of dying civilizations, but a tense, waiting silence. Stars stretched across the void like frozen flames. Alien fleets drifted, crippled or retreating, unsure whether to return or flee further. Entire civilizations had witnessed humanity's power and were left in awe and fear. Inside the Atlas-class carrier, the bridge was calm. Captain Raina Vale stood at the center, her eyes sweeping over the holographic displays of the aftermath. Hundreds of alien ships were disabled, scattered, or fleeing. Smaller human craft hovered strategically, maintaining control without unnecessary aggression. Every movement, every deployment had been precise. Humanity had won the engagement not through sheer force alone, but through planning, discipline, and quiet power. Status report, Vale commanded. Lieutenant Harris looked up from his console. All enemy vessels capable of movement are retreating. Communications with their command structures are largely offline. Morale appears shattered across all fleets. The sector is secure. Vale nodded, her expression calm but firm. Good. Continue monitoring but hold positions. Let them feel the weight of human control. Let them understand that this is not the end, this is the beginning. The Atlas hovered silently in the void, a monument of human ingenuity and power. Outside, the stars themselves seemed to shimmer faintly, as if recognizing that something monumental had occurred. The galaxy had witnessed the moment humans had fully activated the Atlas-class carrier, and it would never forget it. Across distant systems, alien leaders convened emergency councils. Fleet commanders argued, strategists debated, and scholars searched for explanations. Every attempt to analyze the humans ended in frustration. They had underestimated humanity for centuries, and now the consequences were clear. Humans were no longer a weak species to ignore. They were a force capable of reshaping the galaxy. Back on the Atlas, Vale's crew moved with calm precision. Fighters patrolled, frigates maintained positions, and energy systems hummed quietly. There was no celebration, no unnecessary triumph. Humanity's message had been delivered through action, not words. They did not need to destroy to dominate. They had only needed to show their intelligence, patience, and strength, and the galaxy had understood. A young tactical officer approached Vale, hesitating slightly. "Captain, they're silent. No fleets are responding. No messages. It's like the galaxy itself is waiting." Vale's eyes scanned the void. "Yes," she said softly. "They are listening. They are learning. They are calculating. And they will remember. Humanity has spoken, and now the universe knows. Do not underestimate us. Do not challenge us. We protect our own, and we will always be ready." The silence stretched across the stars. Trade routes, space stations, and fleets across multiple sectors paused in anticipation. Rumors of humanity's precision, strategy, and unstoppable technology spread faster than any broadcast. Entire civilizations whispered of the Atlas-class carrier, of the humans' quiet dominance, and of a species that had waited patiently for the right moment to assert control over the galaxy. Inside the Atlas, Vale turned toward the observation deck. She gazed at the stars, countless points of light reflecting the vastness of space and the endless possibilities that lay ahead. Humanity had shown its strength, but this was only the beginning. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would not soon forget. Humans were no longer a minor player, they were a dominant force. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, a statement both calm and terrifying in its certainty. The moment humanity activated the Atlas-class carrier, the stars fell silent. And this is only the beginning. Outside, the stars twinkled like eyes watching from the darkness. The galaxy, wide and infinite, held its breath. Humanity had risen. The rules had changed. And the universe would never be the same. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood that silence could carry power, patience could carry victory, and humanity, quiet, intelligent, and patient, was now the master of the stars. And somewhere, in the depths of space, distant civilizations began to whisper, fearing the humans they had once dismissed. They are not just humans. They are the future. And we have already lost the first move. The Atlas-class carrier drifted silently among the stars, calm, unwavering, and ready for whatever might come next. Humanity had risen. The galaxy had seen its power. And the silent watch of the stars would continue, forever marked by the awakening of a species once underestimated, and now unstoppable.